live. Welcome. Thank you so much. Please, I need to add Kim onto this live. Lovely to have you. Adjusting my heart. Yeah. So let me see. Guests. Inviting Kimberly. Hope it works. Sometimes it just has issues. I don't know why it does this, but yeah. Anyway, hope you've had a lovely week. It's Friday. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. I used to be like that, looking forward to Fridays. Nowadays, Monday to Sunday is same. Same. Hey, Kim. Birthday girl is joining. Kim, hi.
Hold on. I don't know why. Oh, there it is.
I can see you. Oh, birthday girl. Look at you. Hey, girl. You are not growing any older, but I can see you are growing younger. Oh my God. Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's my last year in my 40s. Ooh. I don't want to say that. I am seriously just cutting it off. Like, I'm glad to be alive, but I'm going to be like, I'm not accepting any other age after 49.
No, I think, you know what I think, Kim? Yeah, even me, like, I used to be like, oh my God, like the last year in my 20s, I was like, why? But then you know what? I realized it actually gets better with age. There's just something about, growing older. Because I used to think of like, there are people who wish they would see their 30s, they never actually got there. There are those who wish they see their 40s, but never got there. Or 50s, yeah, never got there. I think just we need to start embracing aging and be like, oh, I'm getting old and it's fine. And live
Yeah,
each
but the
year.
thing that, but what's not fine about it is like life is going too fast. That's my anti
Exactly.
thing about it is that it needs to slow down.
Yeah,
So as
true.
long as I'm not looking my age and looking better than my age, I'm good. But it just time really needs to slow down.
Yeah.
And like I wasn't so upset about after my 20s because like my 30s were great. I mean, 30s
I
were
can
probably my
imagine.
favorite. Yes.
Wow.
I mean, I got married, had my son. 30s were just spectacular. 40s have kind of had its ups and downs, but just because my husband passed away. But so I know there's a lot to look forward to. It's just it needs to slow down just a little bit.
I know. And I told you, time is going fast because you are having fun. Yeah, because life
Is
is
that
good.
what it is?
Yeah, life
I need
is
to start
good.
being boring. Or whatever
Yeah,
that is that makes it slow. I don't know.
yeah,
But
yeah, but oh my God, it's amazing. Happy birthday. You know
thank
what?
you.
Yeah, and as we get older, I think it's also it's bittersweet. There's mourning the years that have passed, and looking forward to the ones that are coming. Yeah. Anyway, it's life. That is
It
life.
is.
Life.
It
And I can't,
is. It is.
like, even the other time I was like, am I even, I even doubt, am I even 34? Like, I start even like asking myself, I'm so childish. And then I'm like, I have a son who's 13. I'm like, how did I make it this far? Like I look at it, I'm like, is this me? I cannot imagine that I'm that age. It's almost as if I'm almost in denial being 34. Then I'm like, am I going to 35? I really? Like, there's just so much I feel like, like I should be somewhere else. Then I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm where I am and it's fine. Because, I thought like in 35 I'd now be like 10 years married with children, children. And yeah, I looked at life differently. But you know what? I am glad. Ooh, I'm so glad that is not what happened. But anyway,
Yeah.
So
No, but you're not the only one. Like I look at people that are my age,
oh
and I'm
yeah.
completely delulu because I'm like, is that what it's supposed to be like?
I
I
know.
feel a bit immature, or I don't know, immature, but I'm serious when I need to be. But I feel like there's just, from a lot of people I
Yeah.
see at my age, there's a higher level of seriousness, and I don't know how to put it, and
Yeah.
I don't see myself there.
Yeah, they even, I think they even have grandchildren, some of them, or if not, they are like
Yeah,
really
I mean,
old, kids in college.
and I don't feel my age, and I don't act my age.
Which is,
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
yeah.
leave it out there.
Yeah, please don't lose. Don't the thing that you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose that childish. The way you feel like a child. That playfulness. Never lose that. Never lose that spirit. That adventurous spirit. That like, where you spontaneously come up with something. Where you're doing fun things. That's something people need to hold on to, because life actually makes you let go of those things, and now you start like being very serious, focusing on your children. You're going to college, or like there is a lot that happens in life that people just lose who they are, and they forget to play. Playfulness, I think that's very important.
Right.
So
Well,
yeah,
I
because
definitely haven't gotten rid of that.
yeah, keep going. Yeah, that's amazing. I like people who are playful, like not to be too serious, man. Especially
Yep.
ladies. I know, man. Play a bit. No seriousness. But anyway, life can actually make you become serious, because like the life you
Right,
live is.
right. There's enough going on in this world. So, like I said, be serious when you need to, because there's a time and place
Yeah.
that we need to, act appropriate to your surroundings. If you're at a
Wow.
business meeting, don't goof off.
Oh
That
my
might
God.
not be the best place.
If my colleagues were to join this live and they see, if you're in a business meet, don't goof off. Oh my God, I used to goof off. Not like goof off in a way that it like cost my career, but I used to goof off. Like I would have a presentation and the first slide would be a meme. Then people would laugh. I'm like, now continue to serious things. Yeah, that's how I used to do it. And when I used to
Oh,
go,
that's different though. I'm talking about the one that doesn't get you fired. Don't do that one.
yeah, yeah, I get it. I love that. But yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, I get that. And also the aspect of just being so serious. I used to see colleagues who are very serious, even like they never laughed, like, where we used to sit was like the marketing customer experience, and we
Mm.
had marketing customer experience, I think. Yeah. So from that place, you just see people, you hear people laughing, like, and then it's like an open, open. So like like they laugh, like people laughing. People like turn like this, They just know that people are laughing at the people from marketing, because they're just like the jokers, man. We're just the jokers. But I used to think, you know what? I'm so happy that I'm in such an environment where you'd actually laugh, make fun, but still do the work. Let me say, like, people are most
Right.
creative are those people who actually, also laugh from time to time. You think that those people are like busy working, actually really working, but most of the time they're just thinking about, some of the things that are happening in their lives, blah, blah, blah. So most of the time that's not what happens. So it's important that to mix that fun and being serious, like not to be too serious, doesn't even make sense
Right.
ultimately. So
Right.
anyway, yeah. So yeah, again, happy birthday, Kimberly.
Yeah.
You are blessed,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, hopefully I see you before you turn 50. My goodness.
Don't say the F word.
Like the
Slow
F
that one
word.
down, girl.
Like the F word. Oh my
That's the new F word for me, 50.
I think I was thinking also, like I was telling Chris, like, oh my God, I feel like when I get to 40, I'll want to like do some plastic surgery, but not on my like I don't know. I feel like I'll have some wrinkles, coming up. I was like, hey, goodness me, like when I
Not
get to
me going
40.
away from here so you can't see my face up close.
No, I was thinking about that, but then I also asked myself, like, doing that plastic surgery, is it like you are not accepting yourself the way you are, or you're not embracing aging, or is it buying yourself time? Like, there has to be, why do I want to do that? I don't want to do that for all the wrong reasons. Like, I don't know. Like,
Right.
yeah, there's still
No,
time to
I get
think.
it. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah, there's still time to
I get it. I
think.
mean, I think a little bit is not a big deal. It's
Yeah.
when I've seen so
Yeah.
many celebrities like take it way over to my taste. If they're happy with the way their face looks, then more power to them. But there's that point where it is just such an overkill and it changes your whole look. Like you don't look like you anymore. That's when
Yeah.
it's too much for me. And that's for
Yeah.
me, to each their own, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Thank you,
Little
Candy.
here, little there. We're good.
Yeah, so yeah, there's that
I've
also.
had none. None of this is all
Yet,
natural. I've had
yet,
none.
yet. Add the word yet because you might. I'll be like, Kim, I'm
Right,
going
who
for my.
knows?
I'll be like, Kim, I'm going for my. Then you'll be like, I'm coming. Like, okay, just come.
We'll go together. Tag.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, yeah, so the time is coming, and I feel like as women, again, we have the option to actually, I think even human beings, obviously, like we have the options to actually like take time. Like when you're 60, you probably like look like you're like maybe 50 or like in your 40s or something. Like we can actually
Thanks.
sort of get there. I
So they
feel
look
like,
like me. When they're
yeah,
60, they look like me.
yes, precisely. Like when
So
you're
I look like
60,
a 60-year-old.
no, I mean you've not gotten there yet. I wonder though, like you should try asking guys, like strangers, how old do you think I am?
I mean, I do get questioned, and that's not just that. You question, you see my age, or I've had you know, business office where they're like, "What's your birthday again?" And I told them, and they're like, "You're," and because they didn't think I was the person come in questioning about what was going on, and I was like, "No, that's me." And
Uh-huh.
so I do get people asking or not believe me when I tell them how old I am. So there's that. But I've always like how I look now is what I look like when I was 5. Like I have not changed.
I
It's
need
hilarious. I
I've
mean,
seen your
I look the
photos.
same.
I've seen,
Huh?
are you the one who showed me? There's a photo I saw of you when you were in your teens, I think teens. I think you
Who
had
is
like
showing you these photos?
you had curly hair. Like your hair was really curly.
Yes, I have naturally curly hair. But
Yeah,
I probably like blew dried upside down and scrunched it. And was I
yeah.
with my brother? Was I wearing a yellow sweater
I think
thing?
so. You are with your brother, yeah. So I saw that. Loved it. I was like, oh, you almost look like a doll. You know that one, like, oh my gosh, she looks like a doll. Because with your yeah, with your face and then the curly hair, I was like, oh my god, it looks like a doll. That's so cute. Yeah.
Yeah, it made me blush.
If you I feel like if you
Yeah,
had
these like chubby cheeks I've always had. They're not going
yeah,
anywhere.
I saw
And
that.
I had a problem with it, and that's why I think why I have because I have a baby face. So I always hated it
Uh-huh.
because I want to be like sexy. I want to be hot. I will never be sexy and I will never be hot.
No.
That's just a conclusion. But I will not. I've come to accept that I'm cute. So any guy that likes me is gonna like cute girls. Cute, because that's all I'm ever gonna be is, oh,
But
she's so cute.
sexy.
Um,
I think
I don't
sexy.
know about that.
I think sexy comes in all. I think sexy comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes. Is a feeling of sexy.
No, when I look at
So
you,
cannot say
when I look at
sexy.
you, when I look at you, me, it's so
Is
cute. Mm. You
what?
sexy, me,
Oh, you think
no.
so?
I
That's
mean,
good.
guys might find that attractive, but those are the kind of guys I will attract, like my late husband,
Uh-huh.
who obviously had a thing for cute girls. So, and that's where
Blonde
I came to
girls.
accept my yeah, blonde hair, blue eyed too. So there's
I know.
that. Yeah, but also cute because the kind of girls that I saw, they like, because, we talk, when we saw people on TV or whatever, they were all cute. And so I'm
Uh-huh.
like, that's his type. I'm his type.
Mm.
I added bonus with the blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Yeah, so
boy.
I'm never going to be hot and sexy and alluring. It's
Mm.
just saying that makes me cringe because I'm not. Any
Goodness. So I, I don't know.
I have confidence. It's just it's a different kind of confidence.
Yeah, I mean
I'm special. I'm unique.
it is what it is, and the way society has actually made us believe like people who look like this are sexy and hot. People who look like this are cute. Like it, we've been put in buckets of yeah, and that is the programming that we've actually had. That is probably not necessarily true because I know in Kenya or in Africa in general, men love women who are like you. They like because they feel like oh this is someone. They like plum, You turn around like this, they're like oh my goodness, you know.
Oh God,
They see
I better
some.
guard myself.
Yeah, so I think different cultures also I've noticed different cultures have different kind of things they love in women and in
Yes.
but in Africa, men, when you are light skinned and you are plump, you have the flesh, they love that. They love that. So, but then when you go to like your country or Europe, they like people like me who are skinny, who have this cause collarbones. Cause my mom would say,
Yeah.
why are you not eating? Those your collarbones can carry water to a thirsty village. That's what she says. Like I
I've
can
never
carry
heard
water.
that.
Yeah, she's like that. It's like African moms will body shame you for being thin. Always. Are you sick? What's the problem? Why are you not eating? I'm like, hey, mom, no matter what you say, there's no way I'm not adding weight. I'm like this. She's like that also. So I'm like, why are you telling me this? And you also are not even big. So we are just the same. Like these genes are yours. This family, we're just like this. So that's something we cannot change. But yeah, African moms like when their children are like big, not thin. Yeah. Anyway,
Didn't know that. Good to know.
yeah, it's like
That's
that.
that's interesting. I mean, here, I think, I don't know. Here in the United States, I think it's just to each their own. There's not really a set standard. I've said this many times with my son growing up, and like I said, to each their own. This was just in my household. I made his baby food, and so he ate whatever we had, just minus all the spices and the extra stuff. And like I didn't give him soda. I didn't give him um any sweets or anything like that. And that was a constant battle with my in-laws and like that including my sister-in-law, because they would, think it was okay to give him, soda. And I thought, he's not even a year old. She goes,
Yeah.
he's got to drink something besides water or milk. No, he doesn't. He does not have a taste for it. He does not need it. And that went for candy. I was like, don't give my son sweets. Don't give him any of that. He doesn't need it. He does not have a taste for it. I don't
Yeah.
want to introduce this to
To him.
him
Yeah. True.
as he got hit. But it was, he would not eat a whole lot of lemons, like a bag. Now
Sorry, Kim. I keep losing you.
he'd take three and be fine.
Kim, sorry, I kept
Are
losing you. I
you?
don't know what's up with your connection.
I'm fine over here. Everything's been fine over here.
Yeah, there's a point where you'd speak and then it would stop, then speak, then stop. Yeah, but now it's fine. Yeah. Anyway, it's okay. Yeah, so
Yeah. So to each their own, I see some of these kids at a very unhealthy weight.
yeah,
And I know it's going to be a controversial thing to even say it, but parents are, children cannot go out and buy their food. They
yeah,
cannot go get the things. It is up to the parents. So it's what the parents are bringing into the house. And you
yeah.
have to teach your kids healthy eating habits. And that doesn't mean you can't have any sweets or you can't have that, but it's all within, you know, an amount, not overindulging.
Yeah.
And that's why we have a lot of overweight. And I've seen like 1 year olds, 2 year olds that are so overweight, and they depend on their parents, and it's their parents and their caregivers that are giving that to them,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And
Mm,
so, but as parents, we have to take on that responsibility and
yeah,
live by example for our children.
absolutely. I've seen that. And the thing you say that it's what they will eat what you give them. Like my son, when I put when I buy, let's say cake, I put it there, he will eat the cake. When I put fruit, he will eat the fruit. Like he eats what's there. Or if I put oranges there, like you find like, oh, he's eaten the oranges. Like he eats what is there. He'll not say, oh, I don't want this, blah 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 blah. He will never say that. He will eat exactly what is there. So that's actually very important. The aspect of why are you giving them things that are not healthy when you know where else will they eat? Like they'll get hungry, so they'll actually have to eat what you're giving them. And
Well, I mean, there, I can kind of play on a little bit of that.
uh-huh.
Am I back? Sorry.
Sorry, we
Can you
lost
see me?
you. Yeah, now we
Okay,
can.
yeah, a phone call came through. Sorry. Um, my son, so he would eat whatever we ate. So when he was able to actually eat solid food, and I made his food, right? And then about 13 months old, he
Mm-hmm.
became very picky, like would not eat anything. And he would starve himself. He would not eat. I mean, it was very limited. He'd eat yogurt, Cheerios, like just a regular Cheerios, no milk. He just eat them dry and drink his milk.
Yeah.
We were very limited. It wouldn't, I mean, and he just, if you didn't give him, he wouldn't eat. And there was no, he was like this from that till probably he was almost in the second grade.
Mm,
And, when he could have peanut butter, like he had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day for lunch. This went on for like 5 years. And then cheese sandwich. So that was like growth for him, but it didn't matter. He still has like texture issues. Um,
so it was
he still
texture
has texture
issue.
issues with certain, huh?
So it was texture issue. Like he didn't like some texture of the food.
Some of it, and some of it was just flat out the taste. I don't know. It was a really weird thing. I'd call my brother because, our kids are the same age. And I was like, I mean, I'd be crying because I'm like, he's not eating. He is not eating. And I mean, never snacked. I mean, he was in the 33 percentile, so in the very small side of children. And, but like I said, yogurt, Cheerios, bananas, some
Yeah.
apples, but I mean, it was a very limited palate. When he was allowed to have peanut butter, he'd have, he did not eat a regular. It's like if you put meat on a sandwich, he doesn't. He had his first,
Kim,
and it was like an Italian sandwich from across the street. Um, hmm
I don't know what's happening today. Hey, Aish, you keep talking and then it's breaking, especially the time you're talking about the Italian sandwich, like it was like, and then it kept stopping. This has
Really?
never happened before. This is so weird.
No, it hasn't, because everything's fine on my end. I mean, every once in a while it shows up there's a poor connection,
Yeah.
but nothing else. It
Oh,
doesn't do anything. It like just flicks up and goes down.
yeah.
Nothing. Um,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
but so yeah, so he had an Italian sandwich, so it had like pastrami and and other stuff, which he has never ate in his life. He actually ate it, and this was at 13 years old, first time in his life he'd
Mm-hmm.
ever ate a sandwich like that. So his palate has expanded,
Mm-hmm.
um, but he's still very particular
Um,
about certain foods. He does not like stews, hates beans, which I love beans. Um,
yeah. Me
and
too.
he hates them. His dad hated them too.
I love beans.
So,
I love beans. I love
mhm.
lentils. I love,
Yes.
yeah, those things.
See, my mom and I do. The rest of the people in the house don't.
Yeah, I know even Chris says he doesn't like them like okay. I mean you don't like them but you can actually eat them, right?
Yeah.
You like it you wouldn't die, you're not like allergic.
Right, right. And so, with my son, now it is hard, but excuse me, you just have to find alternatives. And so that's what I did, was find something that he would eat
Yeah.
within that, because he just wouldn't eat. And
Yeah.
that was the problem. And he was already he was already thin, and underweight. He's fine now. But so that was an issue, and it wasn't, like I said, he wasn't eating junk food or whatever. But I mean, and the one thing I did get him, because he would eat chicken, was the only meat he would eat.
Mm.
And I think I've told this story. Meat, chicken was the only thing he would eat, and not on. I fit like New Orleans stock black and white, and and he liked it. And my husband was like, "Kim, you can't do that."
Who's saying
I
sorry?
saw it. Um, yeah, I saw it. It did it again. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it did that thing, then now you're back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Figured.
So, anyways, I told him that he told me, well, oh, you shouldn't do that to him. I was like, but he's eating it and it's something different, and fish is good for him, right? So we did this. I made this a couple more times, and he would even ask for seconds, which my son never, ever did.
Mm.
And finally, my husband guilted me enough, and I felt bad that I told him, my son, I think he was like 5. And I said, well, honey, mommy has to tell you what you ate was not chicken. And he's like, oh. And I said, no, it was fish.
Mm.
And he was like, oh, okay. And he went on. And so, like, my son has a love for fish. And so that's how I discovered that. And it started out by me telling him it was chicken. So a little white lie.
By
But then he started eating fish.
I don't know what happens. Kim, I don't know what happens. Hello. Hello.
I'm here. I can see you.
Sorry. Yeah, you froze. You were
Do
like
you
this.
want me to? At least it was not like a. Do you want me to leave and then you invite me back and see if that helps?
Yeah, okay, let's try that. Are you using the same connection you normally use?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
let's just continue and see if anything happens. Then we'll see.
Wait. Wait. Do it or don't do it.
Don't do it now. Wait. I was saying,
Okay.
I don't know what happens with our
Okay.
test buds. I don't know. I was saying I don't know what happens with our test buds as we grow up because I hate like I never used to, I don't like eggs. Like, I eat boiled eggs, but I cannot eat the ones that are fried. Like, the moment you have like an omelette, that one I don't want. Like, yeah, wow. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, so I don't
Really?
want that. Yeah, I just want boiled eggs. And then I don't want cheese. I don't like cheese. Like, yeah, even bread. There's the kind of bread I can eat, but then there's another bread I cannot eat. So I'm like, hey, so I'm like, where does this taste buds come from? Like, because different people, like, there are people who can eat anything, then there are people who are very choosy, like me. I'm like really picky, like, there are things I cannot eat. And when I think about eating them, I just want to puke. Like, I don't want to have pizza. I don't want it, like, because it has cheese. And I think about that, I'm like, no, I don't want it. So I'm like, where do these taste buds come from? Like, cause my son loves pizza. Then there's me. I don't want to eat pizza. Like, you're like, where is this coming from? Is it because I never grew up with those foods, or like I actually don't get it. The whole taste buds
I
thing.
think it's like a combination of things because they always say what my pediatrician always told me with my son was to keep introducing him to foods, even if he didn't like them, so because there are times that your taste buds, especially growing up, you might not like it, but you try it maybe 2 years later and then you do like it. Or maybe after having it 2 or 3 times, you then acquire a taste for it, you know?
Wow.
So that's kind of what I was also referring to when I was saying I wasn't giving my son sweets and all that when he was, a baby or a toddler because he didn't need it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but also because if you don't have that taste for it, you don't miss it. You know what I'm saying? If you've never had soda, you're not going to miss it
So you don't miss
because
it.
you've never tasted it.
Yeah. So I assume you don't miss it, and then when you are given to taste it, will you be like, wow, this is amazing? Or will you be like, yeah, no, I don't want this?
Yeah, but they always say, to try it more, don't just try it and be one and done. Like, maybe, in a few months or whatever, try it a couple more times to see if you really don't like it. Or, it's just that new flavor that kind of makes you go, I don't know, you know?
I mean, after you said that, I'm like, when now, God willing, I have children, like new ones, not the ones that don't want to eat broccoli. Like you like give them those broccoli and like very tasteless,
Okay.
healthy food so that
No, I have to say, my son, who was very picky about eating, loves broccoli. So my picky son, who I couldn't get the anything, he loves salad. And my picky eater, and usually in picky eaters, like their favorite thing, like ketchup ranch. No, my son, a balsamic vinaigrette was the only dressing he would eat.
wow.
So he was picky, but he would eat um, things that were uh,
Tasteless.
we're more kind of advanced eating, like, the fish, the salad, that's usually older children. So, but my young child was eating that, and he loves carrots, but he only loves raw carrots. He doesn't like cooked carrots, and that's to this day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
broccoli he'll eat any way. But he just got to that state of not feeling so bad because at least he was getting protein, he was getting veggies in.
Mm.
He wasn't just eating mac and cheese or, chicken nuggets and French fries. So it wasn't anything like that. So that was good.
Yeah.
So my
Mm.
picky eater does eat broccoli.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, absolutely. We are now underpinning the importance of making sure your children are eating healthy because, I mean, that's up to you. It's eventually up to you. And I think as you get into adulthood, you struggle a lot with maybe losing weight or, eating healthy because as you grew up as a child, that's not what you are used to. So now most people actually struggling and they probably be like, oh my god, I wish my parents would have made different choices when it comes to what I was eating. So I mean that's also something else you need to think about. No, ultimately what
But
you want
granted,
is
as they get older, as an adult, you
can make your own
have
decisions.
that chance, that choice. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. So, of course, when you come to the realization that, okay, maybe what I'm putting in my mouth is not the best for me. So you have to come to that understanding that you want to make a change before you can make a change.
yeah, yeah,
So, and then at that point, you have to take responsibility for your actions. Okay, there were circumstances leading up to that,
yeah,
and, grieve that process, be angry at that, but deal with it and move on. If not,
yeah,
you're going to get stuck. And getting
yeah.
stuck is a choice. It's getting you nowhere. You're going to have to figure out a way to move past that.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, I know there is those things. Yeah, our parents didn't do a good job. I mean, that's all. That's all. Also, they knew, right?
Right.
There's a person like, yeah, I didn't have a choice at that point. Like, I followed what they did, but then you know what? I'm an adult now. It's now my responsibility. It's all me. Like take accountability and be like, it's now exactly up to me. I
Yes.
know I didn't have a good start, but I can actually change that. Ultimately, what's the purpose is to be healthy. Also, like just be healthy. You don't have to look a certain way. Just make sure you are healthy. That's
Right.
really important.
That's right. Have some balance in there, right? Because too much of a good thing is too much, right?
Yeah,
So it's all about moderation. That's
moderation.
it. That not just in what you're eating, but in life. It's moderation. You can't go from one extreme to the other. That's not healthy. In relationships, food, spending, living, like living beyond your means, not good.
Yeah, reminds
You have to
me.
learn to do things in moderation.
Yeah, reminds me of moderation that I have my ice cream day coming up. I normally have like ice cream days where I go eat ice cream. Just to reward myself for doing the things I needed to do, like showing up in the gym, and eating healthy because I rarely even have that ice cream. I rarely have any, sweet stuff. Just yesterday is when I bought like a chocolate and then I was eating chocolate. I was like, this is good, this is good. I was like, you wish you could have that every single day, but you can't.
Right, right.
Yeah, unless it's those dark chocolate that are very healthy, but this one like
I was
really.
about to say the darker chocolate. Yeah.
No, this was white chocolate, Kim, that is very sugary. It's actually not
Oh,
good at all. It's not good at all. It's just like, let me have it, and then I'll not have it until after a while, and then I'll have it. So yeah. Anyway, it was just a
oh, that's
reward.
funny.
So when you say moderation, that's very important. Like I use them as rewards, like those things that you love, like pizzas, like burgers. Yeah, it's fine, but I use them like as rewards. Like at the end of the month, be like, hey, I've done a hard work. Go sit down, have your pizza, because the whole month you've been doing your proteins and your veggies, and now you're like, and your grains are like, I deserve this. So you eat that without feeling guilty. Yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, yeah. So eating healthy. Faith Wayne, thank you so much. William Odinga, you're very rich. Amen. Very rich. Rich in health. Rich in wealth. Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much, William. Please follow us. Appreciate it a lot. Um, then now, we should go to the questions. To the questions from,
Questions.
yeah, questions from a parent. This is from a parent. Oof.
Okay.
My 14-year, eh? My 14-year-old knew we wouldn't have time to go to the haunted corn maze stuff this year. She said on Monday that a friend of ours was going on Friday and her dad could drive them. Today I found out that she's planned it and told the friend that her mom would pay for both tickets and worked it out for the dad to drive. Tickets are 59 each. The other family can't afford a ticket. I feel manipulated. I don't want to embarrass her with her friend, but also I don't think she should get to go after lying. Am I overreacting if I cancel?
So who's paying for it?
So this person who wants to cancel is the one who's a push, who the daughter says would pay for it, but she lied to the other parent to get them to drive there. But then she was like, it's like without me asking my mom, hey, I go tell another parent, yeah, my mom will pay for the tickets for both me and my friend, so she'll pay for 2 tickets, 59.59. Will you drive us? And they're like, yes, I will drive you. You
Okay.
go to the date. And then you come back, you're like, then now she's like, oh, I feel manipulated.
Uh,
And should I cancel?
yeah. I would say that was a very manipulative behavior. And, I don't want to shame the girl because, listen, we've all been there as a kid and we push buttons with our parents to see what we can and cannot get away with. These are one of the buttons that she pushed and should have a consequence and be like, no, because that kind of behavior is not going to be accepted. If you're okay with it, then go ahead. But if this is not an okay behavior in your house, then absolutely address the issue and as you see fit, which you said would be to cancel the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, if you're asking me what I would do, yeah, I would cancel. And,
Wow.
this is a early lesson in taking accountability and responsibility for your actions because
Yeah.
those accountability lessons get more expensive as you get older. So,
That.
and have more dire consequences, depending on what's going on.
Hey, I need to tweet that. Accountability cost gets. What did you say? Accountability gets
I don't know
costly,
now.
costlier as you get older.
Yes.
Yeah.
The play back the video.
Yeah, sorry.
So you have to play back the video.
Yeah, accountability
Now,
costs more
squirrel.
as you get older. That's so true. But you see,
Right.
the thing here is the other parent would have probably moved things around. You can imagine, like maybe the other parent had to cancel the plans and be like, oh, because what I think she lied. I think what should happen is now that because now there are other people involved, it means and there's probably the other parent had moved things around to make sure that he drives them to that place. Maybe it's just like, the only reason I'm letting you go is because of this, but there has to be consequences for what you've done. Maybe, I don't know, grounding for like a period of time, or taking away there has to be consequences for that. And like, I would have cancelled this, but because I am aware the other parent is involved and I don't want to put them in a bad place, that's the only reason I'm letting you go. Otherwise, you now need to come up with.
And then maybe make them do something to work off the $120 worth of tickets
Absolutely.
that were bought as well.
There has to be consequences. There has to be consequences. You see,
Right.
if it was a family going and she was like joining in, I would have cancelled, because yeah, they are going, so that's none of my business. But if now she's, you know, she's made people move things around, and yeah, so there has to be consequences, but those consequences should not affect the other people. So I think canceling would be like would be
Well, I
bad for.
mean, also, I mean, how is the relationship between the two sets of parents? Because, I mean, I will always dump this on here, communication, adult to adult.
Yeah,
Uh, so depending on that relationship, she
yeah.
might be able to talk and be like, hey, I was not aware, and this plan was put in place. And, I can, I don't know if it's by one or both of the children. But that also would be something to think about, because if it's just the one that planned it, that got the
Yeah,
mom to buy the tickets, and the other
yeah,
one's just innocent, then they would also be getting kind of punished for not going
yeah,
on this. So, I mean, I don't really know the situation and
yeah,
how the parents' relationships are with each other to be opening up that line of communication. There's so many moving pieces in here
yeah,
that I'm curious about, but there's plenty of alternatives. I mean, bottom line is the girl has a couple crush, and knowing that manipulating a situation is not okay.
yeah,
Manipulating your parents, not okay.
yeah.
Right? Because if not, and this gets way, then she learns this is an okay behavior and continues this behavior with other people in her life as she gets older.
True, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The other one is just caught my 16-year-old with a vape. I took it. We talked. Well, I talked. Told him I love him and left the room so disappointed. I thought he would make better choices. He's a good kid, and I'm not anti-legal drugs. I'm anti. Sorry. I'm just anti my 16-year-old doing them with a brain that isn't fully developed. I don't want him creating this habit in place of learning and utilizing healthy coping habits. What else should I do or can I do? Parenting is hard.
It is. So, I mean, the difficulty in this is don't know how long he's been doing it. She just found out. So is this something new or something he's been doing? Because, like I said before, taking any kind of substances, toxic substances like nicotine, and any other illegal drugs, cocaine, so on, even alcohol, taking it consecutively, 3 times consecutively, anybody can become addicted, right? And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that everybody will do it 3 times and become addicted. Sometimes it takes much longer for some people, right? But the rule of thumb is 3. So it's like, okay, he's doing this and he's underage. We also need to have that too, because depending on where he is, here in America, you have to be 18 to be able to smoke. That's the legal age. And so for one, it's illegal, but two, how long he can do at this point, we do have to they have to take into consideration, is he now addicted? Because then that's a whole nother thing, right? Because instead of his brain doing what's good for him, he's thinking that vape is what's good for him.
Yeah.
And so that's where the addiction, the hijacked brain comes into play.
Mm,
And so whatever mom decides on this, this is where she now has to acknowledge these behaviors. And if it has become now an addiction, and it's not just I'm doing it hanging out with my friends type thing. So there's several issues at hand. I see where mom is coming from, and I agree and understand. And also, let's, here in America, acknowledge that he's not legally doing it because he's not 18. And that mom's going to have to come up with other things for her get through this situation.
I don't.
It's tough.
I don't know what to do at this point. Oh my God, this is so tough.
I mean, and
the best would be like to. I don't know. Hey.
I mean, the issue obviously either way has to be addressed. So talking has to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and I know there's some families where, they allow their kids to smoke and they think it's okay, and, to each their own. That doesn't happen in my household. But yeah, there's, if she doesn't like it, she's the parent. She has to step up.
Let's engage
and so being the parent, she has to allow and set those rules that are happening in her house. But I just hope that she also acknowledges the fact that if he has become addicted, that she's helping him get through those issues, or her. I don't know if it said it was she or he, but their child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. Wow.
And vaping also is a bit more dangerous because of the way it affects the lungs. So yeah, it's a tough one. I'm just getting good vibes, and you're the parent. You got to do what's right for you and your family, and don't second guess it.
Yeah, I wonder what he's trying to cope. There's a lot. There's a lot she'll need to deal with. Yeah. Maybe he's bored, or maybe I don't know.
But teenagers are impressionable, so it could have started out right. That's how a lot of things innocently start out, and you just do it because other people are doing it, and then before you know it, you become addicted to it, and then start doing it because your brain thinks, oh, this is what you need, because this is a toxin that you've introduced into your body.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's some more complex than that, and I can definitely explain it, but need more than the time we have right now to explain how that works. But when they talked about the hijacked brain, that's what they're talking about when stuff like this takes over.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This other question is also a difficult one. Let me move on to that one. It's very controversial, but her father is against birth control, and I'm not. My daughter got her first boyfriend when she was 15. He is a year older than her. After a while of them dating, the topic of birth control came up. I took my daughter to the best OB-GYN in the state, and I could find it is a all women's clinic. I went there initially to get information about birth control and to educate my daughter. The doctor was very nice and asked my daughter what her opinions about birth control was, and we got all our questions answered. My daughter will not take the pill because she will forget, she said. Some of the other options were on the table due to heavier bleeding, and some of the other options were not on the table due to heavier bleeding. And at the end of the conversation, the OB-GYN asked if my daughter would like to get IUD, as that is the one that she said she would most likely get. I spent time talking with my daughter if it's truly what she wanted. My daughter agreed and got the IUD in place. IUD. you? Sorry. My daughter does have anxiety, and her dad believes it's the birth control. I got my daughter into therapy. She's now 16, by the way, and her boyfriend is 17. They've been dating for well over a year. Her dad is screaming at me, calling me an incompetent parent and a terrible mother because I'm refusing to take out the birth control, even though I've already offered to get hormonal test done and to have him come to the office talk with the doctor. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure if these are normal teenage mood swings because she does cry frequently or it's the birth control. He believes that we should just take the IUD out and see if her mood improves. I'm disagreeing with because I know it's painful, and what if that is not the cause and my daughter is content with the birth control as it is, and my daughter is content with the birth control as is. Ah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is definitely something that they need to decide as parents of this child, and obviously have the child in discussion with this. But I mean, easy enough to look up and talk to with a pharmacist or her pediatrician about the effects of the birth control, and if this is actually a side effect to that medication. That's the easiest and first step I would take, would to do that, to even see. But there's a lot of other complex things because she is a teenager. Her brain is growing as fast as it's going to grow. So there's a lot of things that could be. And if you don't start eliminating, you won't know, right? So best advice is to speak to a medical professional about this, right? And make a parent educated decision on that.
Yeah, sorry, you are breaking. Hello, Nanyukian.
Oh,
You broke there a bit. Yeah, so
sorry.
again, cultural differences between you and I, because in our country, we don't get birth control. And maybe the reason why, for example, someone like me was 19, got pregnant, but 19 is fine, to be honest. Because even at 19, it was the first time I was doing, like, I turned at 19, and that's when I had freedom because I was going to high school, to college. So that's when I started. That's when I had my first boyfriend, and then I did shakalaka boom boom, and then boom, I got pregnant because I was not aware. I was very naive. Now, birth control. My goodness, this topic of birth control, I've done a bit of research because I have never been on birth control all my life. Even after getting Aiden, I was like, I'm either getting into a serious relationship or I'm not, shakalaka boom boom with just anyone and putting myself into birth control just for people to dump their semen in my body. So that was a decision I made. I just decided, okay, I'm going to be, what is that called? Either serious relationship or just be abstinence, yeah. You see, growing up at the age of 14, 15, the thing, even talking to a boy, my dad see me talking to a boy. Hey, I don't remember I don't think my dad has ever seen me talk to a boy. Never. Because I would hide. I think when I go to 17, 18, if I was talking to even a friend, even boy from school, is a neighbor, and you're discussing book, I would just hide to talk to them because I knew my dad would see me, would be like, I'm done. So anyway, the topic of sex was a taboo, and I wish my parents would have talked to me about this, or I don't know who would have talked to me about this, sex, that shakalaka boom boom, and then what consequences and how to probably do it safely, those things. I think those are things that should have been told to me back then, but it was a taboo topic. I think it still is a taboo topic here. But I know parents are talking to their children about them. I spoke to my son when he was like even we started talking about when like 10, 9, 10. I talked about, you know what this is. Then he started laughing. Then we had the conversation, blah, blah, blah. So constantly we talk about that, just for him to understand, the consequences of what would happen if that happens, blah, blah, blah. And if this was me, let me tell you, Kim, I'll be honest with you, there's no way I'm putting my daughter on birth control on BC. No way, because I know BC messes up with hormones. Your estrogen is always up there and your progesterone is really low, and we need both balanced. So it's like a whole issue in the background with BC. And then there is research that has been done to show that when you get there are issues with that. I've not got deeper into that, which I need to do, especially if I'm going to have a child who's a daughter, if I'm going to talk about this topic another time. I need to find that research, but it's been shown to have a lot of adverse effects on women, even because anything that messes with your hormones ultimately is not a good thing. And
But
if wait, I finish. If this was my daughter, I am not doing it, Kim. And I would say I'm with the dad on this one. Like, I think this is what is actually causing her mood swings. They should try remove it and just see. Like, Kim, let me ask you, how hard is it to abstain for like 3 months just to monitor what's going on with your body? Is shakalaka boom boom something so very important that we have to have it? I don't
no,
get it.
I'm absolutely with you. I did not do that stuff in high school.
Mm,
So I was over the age of 18 when I first did it.
mm,
So I'm coming from, I've already thing, but here this individual has already been on it, is obviously doing it. So like you're now going, hey, reverse that. Um,
yeah.
and my mom wanted to put me on birth control when I remember when I was a teenager, and I was like, absolutely not, because I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Why would you want to put me on it? But I had very bad periods,
Oh,
right?
oh,
So incredibly bad. So when I was 18, I made the decision to go get on it, not because I was doing anything, but because my periods were so bad.
to help you
And
regulate.
I was on it from the age of 18
Mm,
until I had my son,
mm,
which was in my 30s. And it worked out great because I later found out that I had PCOS.
oh,
So, which was a cause for a lot of the issues I was having. And the birth control for me helped regulate those issues that I was
mm,
having with the PCOS.
oh, yeah,
So for
yeah.
me, that um, helped alleviate my situation. I didn't do it because I was
Mm,
actively doing, the deed with anybody,
mm,
but to help regulate that. And
yeah.
and for me, it was good. Now there are certain because I did get like put on the depot shot, which was the worst thing for me, which you don't even get
Mm,
like a period, and you get shot like every 3 months. I
oh,
had extreme hair loss on that shot, and I gained so much weight on that shot because now that
mm,
I've been pregnant and had a kid, I felt like I was pregnant because you had cravings all the time. I did
yeah,
while I was on it.
yeah.
So that shot was a big no-no for me in my experience.
Mm,
So yes, I did the pill. It was completely fine. It worked for me and
mm,
my situation. Uh,
mm,
teenager having sex. Um,
yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I was I had friends who did that in high school, and I had a close enough relationship and have a close enough relationship with my mom that I would directly go and ask her questions. I never relied on my peers to answer those for me. So I was very blessed in that sense. And so I was never curious to go out and do that sort of thing. And I think just knowing that my mom had my back if I made the choice to do it or not was good enough for me that I didn't go do it
Yeah.
because I
Mm.
didn't. And I was honestly, I was too scared of going out and getting pregnant in high school because there was actually a person I went to high school with that not had one, but had two kids during high school. And I was like, no. And then you had sexually transmitted diseases on top of that I knew about. So
Mm.
yeah, that was like a double no, 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 no for me. I was like, I'm not going to risk the biscuit for that.
Yeah.
So that's where I was at.
Yeah.
But like I said, with this individual, like they're going to have to do something to do process of elimination to figure out what is going on. Even if taking out the IUD, have to understand because those hormones are in there, you're going to have time to regulate those hormones once
Mm.
she comes out of that IUD,
Yeah.
right? Because it doesn't, once you take it out, it just stops. It's going to take time for her body to adjust
Mm.
in that period. So that's why I was like, you need to talk to a medical professional to see the best way to handle to get these things knocked out, right? I
Yeah.
mean, and there are alternatives. She can take the pill. Like, if you're going to take the responsibility to go out and have and do the deed, then take the responsibility in preventing what comes with that,
Yeah.
using a condom, taking your pill every day, and being responsible for it. Because if not, you're going to have a lot more responsibility in changing diapers and feeding another human being,
Yeah.
right?
I think this, yeah, which is, I don't want to say like I am, I know, Kim. I think before you turn 18, I don't understand why you're doing shakalaka boom boom me. I absolutely don't see a
Mm,
reason why you should do shakalaka boom boom. I do not.
right.
I don't see, you can actually be without. I
I
think
agree.
it's more of telling the children, you know what? This shakalaka boom boom is like this. There are consequences of shakalaka boom boom. I'm not going to put you on BC, on birth control. Just know if you shakalaka and you get pregnant, you are going to have there are going to be consequences. These are the consequences. And I think it's just doing our best to tell them that. But me giving my daughter who's turned 15, because I see her with a boyfriend, I'm like, okay, I'm going to take you on BC. That's like me telling her, okay, you can have shakalaka boom boom. I'm okay with that. Blah blah. Go do it. In I don't want to say that she will probably not do it, but I would hope she would not. But then again, I'm like, I'm not going to enable her and be like, do it. And if you have to do it, just use a condom. That's what I say. Like, just use a condom. There is no BC. I think that's
Double wrap that stuff.
yeah, just wrap it because BC is going to
Double
mess up.
twice.
Yeah, it's gonna mess up with your hormones, right? Yeah, I understand your situation because there are doctors who actually prescribe BC for people who are struggling with heavy periods. But
And I was 18 when I made that decision. So
yeah, yeah,
I dealt with this stuff before then, but having this conversation about, ending up pregnant is probably the least of what can happen to you when you have um, doing the deed. We have to talk about the sexually disease.
the diseases.
That's a big, yeah, the sexually transmitted diseases
Yeah.
like genital herpes and worse, that stuff does not go away. They take medicine to help calm the issue, but it doesn't go away. It's with you forever, and it's not attractive.
I
Um, there's a lot of other ones out there too. Oh, I'm not a risk taker and stuff like that, and I
yeah,
never was as a child.
I
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I think all this needs to be. It's not just about pregnancy, but it's about all the other things that came with it. Because if you're with this person and this person, you haven't had done the deed, right?
Mm,
But this person has had done the deed with two other people. So you're not just sleeping with this one, you're sleeping with the other two people they had slept with. And then whoever these other two people had slept with, you see what I'm saying? You're sleeping with all those people when it comes down to it. I tell you what, that was explained to me in my life management skill in high school. I was like, gross, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
And
my,
especially you, they can say, oh, I was being safe. I was protecting myself. You don't know. You weren't there when the deed was being done.
yeah,
You don't know.
yeah. You don't know for
Or you
sure.
want to already
Trust.
play Russian roulette with your life like that?
Yeah, it's like more trust no one because this is your life that's going to be at stake. I think consequences are important to communicate. I think what's important is just like be open with your children, like teenagers. Tell them
Yeah.
these are actually the consequences. Maybe they don't understand the consequences in deep enough, and that you know shakalaka boom boom is not important. It actually should be done with someone who invests in you, someone who you care about, someone who you believe this is someone you are going to, have a long-term relationship. Not just anyone should have access to, shakalaka boom boom. That's something that we need
Right.
to tell our children, our teenagers as they get
And
older.
and learning to respect yourself and
Hmm.
not being pushed into situations, whether
Yeah.
you're a male or
Yeah,
female, because this happens with males as well,
Hmm.
not being forced into it. Because if your significant other, if they love you, they're not going to push you to do things that you are not comfortable with.
Absolutely.
Period. End of sentence. They're not going to guilt you into it. They're not going to pressure you. If your significant other is doing this, and this is at any age,
Yeah.
then you need to take time to think about, should I really be with this individual who is not respecting me in this time that I'm not ready and I don't want to do this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Somebody
absolutely.
loves you, they're going to love you and love your decisions and your choices. And this goes both ways.
That's why it's important to raise children who are confident in themselves, confident in their decisions, who have self-love, self-trust, and they'll do the right thing no matter what. If everyone else is doing the wrong thing, they're like, you know what, this is the right thing. This is what feels right to me. They're okay doing that. Um, it's a sick world out there, especially for children, absolutely sick. And
Mm-hmm.
as they get older, they get exposed to so many things, and it's important that we guide them. And also, again, yeah, mistakes will happen, blah blah blah, and consequences will happen. Ultimately, I don't want to judge anyone for making decisions the way they make decisions. That's your life.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my best. If it works out, it works out. If it backfires, backfires. But it was my best, and I did as per my conscience would allow me. So
Right, right.
yeah,
I think, like you said, just having that information out there and having that communication open with your children so they can feel comfortable to come talk to you about this instead of getting information from peers who don't know anything. I mean, they know, but they don't have that experience behind them.
yeah.
Be open enough to have your children be okay with coming to you to have these difficult discussions, right? And if they're coming to you with these questions, there's a reason. There's either they're curious or there's conversations happening within their peer circles in school and friend groups, you know?
Yeah, true. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, as I said, the thing that I've found, like with my son, like for him to open up to me would not be like, come, let's talk now. What's going on now? That's not the way. The way I find him to open up is like if we do something, and that, like, let's say playing Scrabble or like going for a walk together. I find that he talks to me about stuff, so I don't have to ask them from him. Like he would actually volunteer the information, without
Mm-hmm.
even me, like, just because there's that environment that has been put, that we can actually open up to me. That has worked. And yeah, so I mean, some of these things that I even question, does he tell me everything? you
Right.
know Yeah.
Yeah, you're only hearing what they're writing down, and that's the thing. We can comment this on this all we want, but we're only getting part of the story from one of the four individuals involved,
Yeah.
and you still don't know everything. So hopefully they're putting all this together because ultimately you are the parent
Yeah.
and you are in the situation and you know what is best for your child. And it takes two to have
Mm,
a child. So you should have some communication with your significant other, whether you're together or not,
yeah.
because this is took two to tango. This is y'all's child,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
and then yeah, the story we read, the mom did go to the hospital and get the IUD without telling the dad. It's more like a surprise to the dad. So
Yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah, because then it's like, oh, I can't do anything now because you already got it put in. And, even
There's
if you're not
something.
together, you still have a responsibility in that child. And discussions still should be made together when it concerns the child. Whether you are the parent that has main custodial rights or not, you should still be having, unless there is something that has been put on the other individual, like they've been in trouble with the law, or they're not the best fit parent because of you know certain things, like there's something preventing them from having those decisions. They still should be a joint decision to have with your joint child.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate. I see that a lot here, in the states, in the United States where I live, that the main custodial parent, which usually is primarily the women here,
Mm,
and it's unfortunate that there is the lack of communication between parents who are no longer together, especially concerning a child, and or making the child the go between the parents. And you should never put a child in that situation where they're the go between of any parent. They
mm,
should not be in the middle of that at all. Nor should you making bad comments about the other parent. There's no
yes.
they'll find out when they're old enough,
Yeah, true.
what's going on. You don't
Yeah,
need to put those things in the back of their head and have that mindset
yeah,
and those preconceived ideas about their parent.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's a tough one. Like I said,
Anyway, so there's this. Okay, so this is a teenager question. Teenager from a teenager. My teacher doesn't assign us work and just makes us watch Fox News. There is no way, bruh. I have this class it's supposed to be economics, but all this bruh does is watch Fox News. Anytime he needs a report, he 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 typed in Fox News at the end, and it's wild. They just talk about crazy conspiracy theories to the whole class. It's insane. A girl in here literally said a woman isn't fit to be president. Like, bro, there's no way I can't get me out of here. Like,
oh, he's really talking like a teenager there.
yeah, so it's like the teacher is not teaching them and is just watching Fox News. So weird. Anyway.
I mean, there are things you can do as a student, like talking to your teacher, the first step. If they're not listening, then you can go up to the assistant principal, talk to them. If they're not listening, you go to the principal. Like there's things that you can do and be proactive. I would hate to think that's all that they can do, because teachers have to put through their curriculum has to get approved
Mm,
by the higher ups. So they can't just go in and do whatever they want to do. So somebody had to have approved this. And if it was not approved, then yes, going and saying something about this should. I hate politics, and putting on one side or the other in a classroom should not be allowed, because Fox News and CNN are both related to like one party political party and another political party. So
Yeah.
that's my first issue, is that you're creating a bias with these children.
Yeah.
And, they need to learn about all parties.
Mm,
Um, concerning, to vote. We shouldn't be putting a bias because this is how we believe, saying, oh, women aren't fit to do this, or men shouldn't this, or talking about that should not like be talked about in a classroom like
mm,
that. You know,
yeah.
it's mm,
Yeah, I mean,
that that's a difficult.
yeah, I know Chris says yes, public public education is a joke. I mean, which is true.
Yeah.
Why the teacher's supposed to be teaching? This is not a politics class anyway.
No, because
Um,
you're pressing on your views to them. Just like I'm with him on this, because there's a lot of things about public education that I don't like as well, and they're taking out things from history and not teaching those things, and then there's things they're adding in that don't necessarily belong there. Uh, yeah, it's a lot of that. There's a lot of issues with that.
yeah.
That's not what education should be about. And especially pushing any kind of political, religious, or sexual views. None of that should be taught in schools.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Right? I mean, because they tell you that in the workplace. There's the three things you don't talk about. So why are we making an exception for school when these minds are still developing and pushing these topics on there, when that's not what we're here to do?
Yeah, true. Okay, so the last question here is from a teenager who's saying, I'm 17, female, I'm an only child, so my parents are very protective of me, but it's starting to get too much. At my old job, I worked 3 to 4 days a week, of averaging around 15 hours a week, and I've recently switched to a different job since it's better pay and I'll be working similar hours. They're trying their best to stop me from doing this as they believe it's too much work and will interfere with my college work, but I only go to college part-time and my old job never once caused an issue with my coursework. I've not been working for about 3 weeks whilst I'm making the change. They're claiming that I'm doing a lot more around the house and that they're claiming that I'm doing that and that I'm around the house, and that when I was working, I was being disrespectful and leaving the house a tip. What does that mean, a tip? Okay, I don't know. This is far from the truth, as every day before they came home or before I left for work, I'd rush around trying to make sure the house was spotless before I left, and I'm not doing any more or any less than I was before. I got my license a few weeks ago, and I want to track, and they want to track me too, and I completely understand from a safety point of view. But I personally hate the feeling of constantly being watched over, and I just want my independence. I'm constantly reminded by my dad that he doesn't trust me over the fact I broke my mom's phone when I was a little kid, and I skipped school once when I was 14, and I lied to them about it. I also have a super low social battery and I'm an only child, so I'm used to being alone. So sometimes when I get back from a busy day, I can't be bothered with all the questions. So I'll exchange pleasantries with them and recharge in my room for a bit. But my mom's recently told me she finds this disrespectful and it feels like I'm purposely trying to create distance from them. Although they have never explicitly expressed this to me, it also feels like they dislike when I spend a lot of time around friends and they prefer it when I'm at home more often. I thought as I started to get older, they would ease up, let me do my own things on my own terms, but my whole life, most things I've done has been for their approval. And this is yet to change at all. I understand where they're coming from with everything, and it must be hard to watch your only child becoming their own person separate from their parents, which makes me think I'm the one, if I'm the one being unfair or I'm just a moody teenager. I would really appreciate some outsider perspective as to whether I have the right to be upset by the action, or is it just me wanting independence before I should have it. Any advice would be appreciated.
I feel like it's I mean, just from just going strictly by what they've said, it's a combination of both, because as a teenager, she's 17. There is that coming, you're about to come into adulthood, you're about to start college. Um, you're wanting to have a little bit more independence, right? And as a parent, we raise our children that in hopes that one day that they grow up and are able to spread their wings, right? So it sounds like there might be a little passive aggressiveness from the parents, whether they realize it or not, about having difficulty with their one and only child growing up and preparing to leave the nest. And so I think the parents need to do a little self-evaluation within themselves, and they may not even realize that's how it's coming off,
Yeah.
because if they're not consciously thinking about it or even making the effort, and this is again where communication comes in, and to sit down and have this conversation with mom and dad, going, hey, I'm 17 and I have this. I've been doing all the same things.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this,
Yeah.
because and then holding things over children that happened in the past, and they're like, this was a one-time incident, it wasn't
Yeah.
a repeated thing. This is something that dad needs to learn to get over, because
Yeah.
if these were not repeated events, why are we still holding this over there and being unsure of our child, right?
Yeah.
Now, if they're repeat offenders and this has been a common occurrence and a common theme, I can see why dad would be a little skeptical,
Yeah. Yeah.
and said issues. But having that conversation with mom and dad, and opening it up, and especially now, if she's been doing this job, she's been going to school, there hasn't been any problems, why are we having concerns? Right? As long as she's doing what she needs to do and being responsible, why are we,
They're kind
not doing this? Right. And it's like, we prefer it when she's home, but then when she needs time to herself, we don't like it. When she's with her friends, we don't like it. Like, what do you like? What do you
yeah.
want? So
Yeah.
again, opening that line of communication is going to be very important to help this individual with, her parents to, like I said, and maybe even having this conversation might help the parents realize, oh, I didn't think I was coming on that stronger. That's how it was being perceived, right? And
Yeah.
then the assumptions can be cleared as well, hopefully,
Yeah.
between everybody.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing she's written, I wish you'd just tell her parents that this is how I actually feel. I think what caught my eye was when she said, like, she's been living her whole life to get her parents' approval,
Yeah.
which is most of the time what we do. Like, I'd say, like, my dad, like, I would work hard at school so my dad and get like position 1 or 2 or 3, like, always, so that I would get the approval of my dad. So my dad would be like, good job. Like, every time my dad would say, wow, that's amazing, I'd be like, my heart would be filled. So I want to do more of that. I want to do more. So yeah, I understand, like, you live your life, trying to get your parents' approval. And that's how most of us live, like, want to get the parents' approval or caretakers'
Correct.
approval, or get the church's approval, or get whoever who is in your social cycle to get their approval. And that's how we
Okay.
live our life. Most of the time, we don't even think about what is it that we actually want. I would say, yeah, when you are young and you are like living under their roof and blah, 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 that makes sense. But I think as parents, we get to a point where, like, what is it you want in life? What is it you want? Like, assume you're not trying to get our approval. What do you want with your life? What do you want to do with your life? Those kind of discussions with a child, it's actually really important, because as a child, the thing that we want to do is to get a parent's approval. And as a parent, that I know that my son, what the things he's doing is trying to get my approval, to get his father's approval, get grandma's approval, grandpa's approval. At one point, I'll ask him, hey, so, yeah, what is it you want to do? What is it you feel like doing? Assume that you, like, I wasn't there to tell you no, or you've done well or you've not done well. Assume I was not there. What would you do with your life? What do you want to do? So it's important to have those conversations with your child from time to time, so that they don't get old and they're thinking, oh my God, shit, my life. Oh my God, I'm just going to be getting approval from my parents. And what happens with this is that the more they try to get approval, they've already made a version in their head of what is perfect. What does my mom think perfection is? If my son puts in his mind, for my mom, perfection is getting all A's, blah blah blah. He will try to do that, and when he fails to do that, he will start to self-reject. Like he will start to self-reject himself because he's like, why can't I be perfect for my mom to approve what I'm doing? So at the end of the day, he'll self-reject. At the end of the day, he will think I'm not good enough. And that will be in the back of his mind, I'm not good enough. At the end of it all, he lives life thinking he's not good enough. So he never lives up to his true potential because he's stuck with what mom said perfect is. So I think as parents, it's extremely important that we have this conversation with our children. What is it they want? I mean, at 13, he's still young. I would say he's still
Okay.
young. You can say he wants to be a footballer, but maybe it turns when he's like 16, 17. It's like, you know what? I've changed my mind. Oh, this is what I want. I think there's an age where it's like, yeah, you introduce that conversation, but then it's not a serious one. But then when they're like 17 and they're working, they're in college, I think this is a moment where this someone is actually thinking critically. This someone who's actually like now, shaping her future. So it's now important to have that conversation. And I think also the fact that in this case, these parents are just have one child. I think they're also feeling, again, what she's saying is true. Like they're feeling like, oh, she's going now, she's gaining her independence, she's gonna leave us. And they're trying to hold on to that. And the more you hold on, what happens? The more they'll want to get away from you. So the moment this
Okay.
particular girl probably gets a job in another state, oh my God, she will move so very fast. She will not even want to stay there. So balance, I think balance is important as parents, which I
Right.
actually totally understand. Just imagine your son, your only son now. He started going to college, and maybe he gets college in another state. Like, oh my goodness. Hey, Alaska, all the way.
I I get it because I have an only child. I don't have
Yeah.
any more, just the one. So like I understand that fear, but like what you're
Mm,
saying, I don't want to push him to the point that he just wants to get away, you know? And and as parents, we do have to separate ourselves because sometimes we can try to live vicariously through our children and maybe do all the things that we wanted as a child, but it's not necessarily what they want or what's good for them,
yeah,
right?
true. There's
So, we have to pull back and think about that. I like what you said. Sit down with your teenager and asking them, what do you want? What are you looking to do? What are your interests? And showing that we are interested in what they're wanting to do. Have to remember that. There's some things that my son's into. I'm just not. I take an interest in it because it is my son, right?
yeah, yeah,
Because that is his interest. Would I have done that or not? Probably not. But we are two individuals, right?
yeah,
As long as he's doing the things he's supposed to be doing, I'm good. I don't have to like all the music he listens to or the things he does or reads or watches. But if that's what he's into, that's what he's into. And I'm going to support that.
yeah, yeah. And this is
Yeah,
more of like having open communication. Let's talk. I think
right.
let's, I think that's something I need to normalize. Like, normalize having times where you sit down and do something so that a conversation comes up. And that is not something like watching movies, because watching movie means like there's no chance for conversations. Like, we'll be talking about the movie. But watching movie together is also good because you'll get topics and probably that conversation will come up from that topic, which is fine. But doing something that, like playing Scrabble or playing a game together and just see what comes up, or even going out for ice cream or uh,
Like you said, going for a walk. You go for a
yeah,
walk with Aiden and doing things like that. Absolutely.
that helps to bring up conversations and talk about what they are thinking, what they are
Right.
feeling. But ultimately, we'll never be like perfect parents. What is being
Right.
a perfect parent? That
There's no
absolutely
such thing.
exists. So why do we expect our children to be perfect children? That will obviously not exist. But I think let's aim for, conversation, like open conversation, see where that takes us,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, we have such huge influence. I didn't know that I had such a huge influence in my child. I did not know that there's a lot of influence that you have on your child, that it will live with them when they're even like old. Like now I'm like in my
Right.
30s and I'm still thinking of my dad and how I wanted to make him happy, or to get his approval, and living life just to get his approval. Then even finally, as you grow older, you think that you are not trying to get your father's approval because you are out of his house. But then you realize, you know what? I still am working to get his approval.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because there's this book I was reading that was saying that we actually domesticated, the way they domesticate cats, dogs, all those domestic animals, we actually domesticated by our parents, and then they domesticate us to a
Yes.
point where we become auto-domesticated. So my dad does not have to be there. I'll just do things based on, trying to get his approval. What is perfect for my
Right.
dad? Perfect for my dad is a daughter who's working a good job, who's getting salary every month, and taking care of him, taking care of the family. That is no perfection. Daughter who's married, um, like that is the perfection that was built. So every time I fall short of that, I'm like, I fell short of what my dad would think is perfect. And then I have that guilt, I have that shame. So most people are actually living with guilt and shame because
Right.
they are still domesticated in their minds, and they
Mm-hmm.
still think of what dad and mom used to say, or what the church says that I'm not living up to. So we become domesticated automatically even as we are out of our parents' homes, and then we'll start now domesticating our children, who in turn will domesticate. It's a whole
Well, and
cycle.
and also on side of that, society domesticates us as well, on what we should and what's appropriate and not appropriate. And so we have other factors that come in. I read something, and it may have been from that book you're talking about, the whole domestication thing that comes with our parents, and our parents did it to them, and then
Yeah,
you have society and all these other just fall down that whole line of do's and don'ts, and yeah.
yeah. Anyway, c'est la vie, but yeah, open communication. Let's have the conversations. Let's ask our children what they
So
want, so that we also start breaking those beliefs they have probably taken from us. And something also came up with my son. I was having a conversation with him that time when he was joining the new football club. Then he said, "This." He asked, "How much is this football club?" I gave him the amount. Then he's like, "That's very expensive." Then I asked him, "Are you the one paying for it?" And then he's telling me, "Oh, that's very expensive. You can even get another one for cheaper." But he was trying to give excuses because this new football club would challenge him and stretch him. It is actually big boys. He's like, it's under 15, and he was the only one he's the only one who's 13 there. So
oh wow.
he's the shortest, bit short, not shortest really, short. The other boys are big boys. They're 15-year-olds or like big. And so my son would say, it's very expensive. I'm like, are you the one paying for it? And you don't look at how much something costs. You look about the value that this particular thing will bring in your life. And then I thought, where did he get this thing from? Where did he get this thing of? It's very expensive, so it's not worth it. Like,
Right.
it has to have come from somewhere. It has to have come from somewhere. And uh, um, this thing of like, it's expensive, it's not worth it. I don't know, maybe it came from me, because I also have like, the relationship I have with money is, yet it's not a good one. I'm still working on that relationship. So there are beliefs that I probably hold that I moved to him. I don't know. So there's a lot there. So there's a lot of conversation to have. There's a lot of healing to be had.
Right.
And just, I'm not perfect. As your mom, I'm not perfect. There are things you need to question also. Like, don't believe everything I tell you. Like, question all these things. Let's have a conversation. But I think,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's a whole lot of parenting, but still
You're
loving.
doing great, Mom.
You too, you are. You are. We both are. We're doing our best. You know what? Do your best, right? Do your best. Because if you don't, yeah, if you don't do your best, then the guilt will actually come, the shame guilt. Um, because we know what our best is. We actually know what our best is. If you're not doing it, we'll feel it. So let's try to do our best.
That's
That's what
right.
is important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, birthday girl. What are you going to do? Are you going out? Are you eating steak, ice cream?
I I really don't have any plans. I haven't really talked with anybody downstairs. I do smell a cake in the oven, so there's that. Um, yeah. So I don't know when you get older, it's like me. I mean, I enjoy doing for everybody else, and when everybody else's birthday comes, I have
Yeah,
special things I do with them. It's usually taking them out to lunch, especially like the boys one on one. I'll take them out to wherever they want to go for lunch. And then, I think with Circo's birthday this year, I found this really cool cupcake place. Oh, so good. And the cupcakes were different kinds and they were so big. I think we sent a picture to you. So I found that place instead of doing a cake, but
yeah,
uh, I try and do something special for everybody for theirs,
yeah,
and that's where I get joy. So it's not so much what people do for me, but I get joy out of celebrating other people.
yeah. Anyway, it's
So
okay. Again, let's allow other people celebrate us, right? Because
that's right.
even them, they feel nice when you allow them to celebrate you. So, have a lovely one. Oh my God.
Thank you. It's also my dad's birthday today.
Oh
I
yeah,
was born
Christo.
on my father's, yeah, I was born on my father's birthday, so we're exactly 25 years apart.
What is Chris
Yeah.
saying? Come in later and I'll tell you all the truth. What truth is
Lies,
that?
all lies, Chris. Don't listen to him. I don't know. He likes to make up stuff. Don't even. These pictures he's showing you that I don't know about. I got pictures too, Chris. I got pictures too. I'm not afraid to show her. Mm,
No, I think
I'm kidding.
I love your photos. Like young, absolutely beautiful.
I've got adorable pictures of my brother, and he's like, "Oh, well, you get those?" And I'm
I
like,
cannot wait to
"So
see
cute."
them.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
cute. And then if you see a picture of my brother, and I have to put one of my nephew, cookie cutters,
yeah,
cookie
they look
cutters
the
of the two,
same.
like cookie cutters. I've never seen such cookie cutter between these two. It's like when I
Yeah,
see my nephew, it's like looking at my brother. It's crazy.
he says they are
It's not
AI.
AI. He's so full of it. Oh my
Yeah,
God. I can't even.
I need to see those photos, Kim. Oh Lord, I love seeing photos of this man
You're
of
so
mine.
cute. You're
Absolutely.
adorable too.
Anyway, yeah. I
I'll show
have
you,
to
girl.
yeah, anyway, okay, all right. So, have a lovely night. I hope you no,
Thank
mine is
you.
night. Yours is day. Yeah.
It's okay. It's eventually going to be night here.
Yeah, it's true. But have a lovely time.
Thank you.
If you can go out and have something breath of fresh air, eat ice cream. I'm saying ice cream because I love ice cream.
No,
I
I
probably,
thank you. You tell Aiden, like, I really love your birthday
yeah,
message and song with Aiden.
yeah.
Please tell him.
Yeah. I was like,
I really love that he was in there.
it's Chris' sister. When I said Chris' sister, I was like, okay. He was like, okay,
I was so,
this
it
is your
made me, I mean, I
sister.
was like just grinning ear to ear when I got it. And I was like, Aiden was on
Yeah.
here singing happy birthday to me. Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, we love to do that. But anyway, we can't wait. The next one, we are definitely together for sure.
that's right.
Fingers crossed. Okay. Alrighty.
Yes.
Okay, then have a lovely day. Happy birthday
You
again.
too. Thank
I'll see
you.
you. Mwah, mwah. Okay, bye
Have a
guys.
great weekend.
Okay.